From a ton of battles and bloodshed to a series of assaults that left fans traumatized, Outlander has had some pretty spine-chilling moments. Here are the times when the show got super dark, starting off with a bit of poisoning. Fans of the show know that Gaylis seemed a bit sus from the start. Even with that knowledge, no one expected her to go all Black Widow and get rid of her man. When she and Dougal decided that their affair wasn't enough and they needed to be together, they decided that the only way it would be possible would be to get rid of their spouses. Forever. Now, while Colum's wife's death wasn't shown on camera, Gaylis chose to do the exact opposite. She slipped her husband, Arthur Duncan, poison in the middle of a clan dinner, which made it a public scene. The scene was slightly dark, but I'm just preparing you for the worst. The murders were pretty useless in the grand scheme of things. Dougal's brother realized what had happened and forbade them from getting together anyway. And then later, Gaylis was arrested. Since we're on the topic of death, let's talk about the Duke of Sandringham. While dark, this death was extremely satisfying, so it made you feel both uneasy and happy. Almost everyone had it out for the Duke, especially the main characters, Claire and Jamie. They went through all 7 layers of hell because of this dude, so Murtaugh got the ultimate revenge on him. After learning that he was the one responsible for ordering the attack against Claire and Mary, he decided to put an end to the chaos. He literally beheaded the Duke. A clean end to a dirty man. And that wasn't all. He laid the severed head at Claire's feet, making it very clear that he would never bother their family again. This is the kind of love I want in life. Moving on, Roger's struggle is very tough to watch. Outlander features an incredible amount of dark topics, but with that, they show the after effects too. Among many explorations of the stress and trauma that follows a horrible event, Roger's is a memorable one. He was hanged at the Alamance battlefield in Season 5, and after facing such a tough time, he struggles to find his voice. There are additional worries that are seen to be destroying him. He's struggling being the same father and husband that he once used to be, all while fighting his own demons. He's stuck with a nearly impossible feat to overcome these hurdles. It's hard to watch the struggle. One of the darkest topics that the show covers is assault. It was an extremely bold decision. Even got a ton of hate and resentment from some critics. But that doesn't erase the fact that it was necessary. Male assault isn't talked about or represented enough in mainstream media, and the show dealt with it very well. That deserves praise. Jamie's teen nephew is taken by the Bruges pirates. The 16-year-old is taken to the Braca, the one and only Gaylis Duncan. While she's bathing in goat's blood too, the 40-something woman drugs Ian. She gets the information she wants out of him before starting to rub his leg and remove her robe. The show doesn't show the rest of the scenes, but they made it clear that he was assaulted soon after. Then there was Claire's horror too. Outlander has some shocking displays of assault, and they seem to happen very often. While the representation of male assault is praiseworthy, the audience was not satisfied with the idea of it being shoved constantly in front of them. One even said that the show does it unnecessarily. This is why there are a ton of dark moments based on this. Season 5's finale shocked fans. Claire's kidnapped and assaulted repeatedly. Jamie is running, trying to track her down and rescue her, but the traumatic moment continues. To counter the trauma, Claire imagines herself safe in Jamie's arm in the 1960s. Fans watch her try her best to distance herself from the reality of what she was going through. It's both good television and heartbreaking to watch such a steady character go through such intense horrors. And to know that there was something dark that happened regarding her daughters hurts more. Brianna makes a brave attempt to buy back her mother's jewelry from Stephen Bonnet, but she's assaulted. And everyone listening at the tavern does absolutely nothing. It's a horrible moment. And the repercussions carry out through the rest of the series. Another unforgivable moment is Faith's birth and death. Faith is definitely in the top 5 most heart-wrenching episodes of Outlander. It shows the horrifying loss of Claire and Jamie's daughter, Faith. The devastated mother nearly dies with the pain after the loss and refuses to hand over her stillborn daughter. Yes, a stillborn. Just remembering that scene gives me major feels. Her friend Louis de la Tour has to gently tell her that it's time to say goodbye. I don't know how the entire cast didn't start sobbing. And the fact that this isn't even the darkest moment really makes you realize something. This show is not for the weak-hearted, but the most traumatized character in the series has to be the main one, Jamie. Sam Heughan's main character has gone through a different sort of hell. First, his goodbye to Murtaugh. It's always tough to say goodbye to lovable characters. In Season 5, Jamie and Murtaugh are fighting on opposite ends at Alamance Creek, but all battles were forgotten once the Elder fell because of the gunfire. As Jamie tended to him, it was hard not to feel something. I honestly feel so bad for Jamie going through one thing after the other. The first time Outlander took it upon themselves to represent male assault was with Jamie. It happened in the first season of the show itself, and it's one of the toughest to witness by far. Not just in the show, but in any form of film or television. Jack Randall's relentless brutality and sadistic nature made it incredibly tough to watch. Some fans claim to have skipped over the scenes because of how accurate and realistic it felt. The viewer feels everything from his perspective, and the lack of mercy from Randall is horrifying. The book didn't feature the exact scenes, so the audience had to see everything firsthand, which makes it emotionally tougher and rather scarring. The vivid scenes of his torture still haunt the fans, even after 6 more seasons. And Jamie's relationship with Claire after it is just as memorable. During the trauma, Jamie starts hallucinating Claire. It's similar to how Claire pictures being in his arms during her assault in the later seasons. Anywho, he realizes that she isn't really there and begins sobbing. He starts saying that there's no more Claire, meaning not one devastating thing, but 2. That he can't see her anymore, and comes to terms with the realization that he'll never see her again. All the while, the trauma continues with no end in sight. This episode was so devastating that it kept getting darker and more depressing. When Jamie shares his trauma with Claire, it highlights a huge trauma that people face in real life. Jamie's raw insecurity is being displayed perfectly. After sharing the extent of his trauma, he shares his belief and fears that he can no longer be her husband. Not after what happened to him. Claire thankfully vehemently disagrees and talks him out of leaving. The tears didn't stop then, and they won't now. Because of how extreme it was, fans felt like it was too much, and they wouldn't support such a violent and sadistic display of assault. That's all of the darkest moments in Outlander.